I think 2024 will be a year of massive changes to the film and TV industry. Some companies will rise, others will fall, and streaming will begin to look a whole lot different. In this video, I'll break down the state of streaming and my prediction for what's ahead for us entertainment fans in the near future. And I will add, before I get going, some of these predictions I'm going to make are going to be about changes I'm not going to be happy about, and I would imagine a lot of people watching this video are not going to be happy about either. So don't come for the messenger, I'm just putting my finger to the wind and telling you where I think things are headed. But first things first, let's contextualize where the film and TV industry is right now. Now, I don't think there's a creative shortage in Hollywood, especially in the world of TV. No matter what highly specific genre you're into, you can find at least 2 or 3 quality shows that are practically tailor-made to your interests. But despite all of the new shows and movies that are released every year, business-wise, the state of Hollywood isn't good. Now, when it comes to movie theaters, yes, 2023 was the best year at the box office since before the pandemic started, thanks in part to movies like Oppenheimer and Barbie and Super Mario Bros., even Taylor Swift's concert film. But it's still billions of dollars short of where it was in 2019. This is due in part to fewer films being released as a result of the pandemic and the production delays it caused. And now there's going to be even more delays as a result of the actors and writers strikes that we saw in 2023. Plus factor in that superhero films are starting to show signs of franchise fatigue. So generally speaking, there have been fewer people going to the movie theater. There have also been, of course, more and more people canceling their cable services, which used to be the cash cow of the television industry. Now let's get to streaming. So you might be saying, okay, so people aren't going to the movie theater as much, they've cut the cord from cable, but surely the revenue that these entertainment companies are getting from streaming services are just offsetting the revenue that they're losing from movie theaters and cable. Well, it turns out that streaming services aren't bringing in nearly as much money as movie theaters or the old school TV services did. And oddly enough, it's kind of by design. All of the entertainment companies like Disney and Warner Brothers and Paramount that suddenly made their own streaming services to try and compete with Netflix did so at a loss. The idea was they'll spend millions and millions of dollars on advertising these services to get people to sign up and make these really expensive shows to try and attract customers, all while they build up a base of customers over a period of multiple years. Then they'll start turning a profit. But this business model only works if everyone was willing to subscribe to multiple streaming services and stay subscribed to those streaming services for 12 months out of the year. And guess what? The average customer doesn't want to sign up for 8 different streaming services. And if we have the chance to cancel a streaming service and rotate in another one to save some money, we'll do it because it makes financial sense. It seems like some of the people in the industry who made decisions over their business really looked at things with a tunnel vision during the pandemic. Keep in mind that a lot of these streaming services like Disney Plus and Apple TV Plus and HBO Max all launched when people were at home during COVID lockdown. Yeah, a record number of people may have been at home binge watching Tiger King, but we did it because we had nothing else to do. Once the economy opened back up and people got out of their house more, they watched a lot less TV. So the industry is realizing now if they can't churn a profit during that peak time period when everyone was at home watching TV, they're not going to churn a profit with business as usual going forward either. These companies are all panicking and throwing spaghetti at a wall to try to make the math of this whole thing work. That's why we're seeing more ads on streaming services, why we're seeing the password sharing crackdown, and why we're seeing the price of streaming services go up. And as some of these companies struggle through all of this, we'll start to see them either be acquired by other companies or just go bankrupt. There's going to be some losers in this whole process. And frankly, the first one is us, the consumer. As these companies all merge and acquire together, the likely result is going to be higher prices and fewer movies and shows being produced. And when fewer movies and shows are produced, that also means for the people that work in the industry, there's less opportunity for them as well. But you know who won't lose from this process, at least monetarily? The executives at the very tops of these companies that were the ones who got us into this mess in the first place by not making sure the math was mathing before diving headfirst into streaming. Take, for example, Paramount. Their top-level executives have already worked out golden parachute severance packages, so even if their company is acquired by someone else, they'll walk away with a nice little check. I made a separate video about the situation at Paramount. If you want to watch it, I'll have a link. The important thing to realize though is if, like me, you love movies and TV, you're still going to have ways to watch movies and TV. It just might come in a slightly different package. So with that out of the way, what are my predictions for the future of streaming in 2024? Buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride. Let's start out with the streaming services that aren't going anywhere. They're here to stay, and I think they will continue to occupy their space as the three biggest streaming services. That's going to be Netflix, Prime Video, and the streaming services owned by Disney, Disney Plus, and Hulu. Netflix started the streaming wars on top, and in the end, I think they're going to get the last laugh too. They've proven remarkably resilient. When Netflix's rivals first launched their own services, they began pulling their content from Netflix. But now, companies like Warner Bros. Discovery and Disney Plus are starting to put it back. The fact remains that if you want your shows or movies to find an audience, Netflix is where it happens. But Netflix's relationship with the companies that provide the movies and shows to its platform is a one-way street. Disney might be sending their shows over to Netflix, but Netflix isn't sending Stranger Things over to Disney Plus, and they don't need to. They've been churning a profit themselves for several years, and despite some occasional challenges that Netflix has faced, it still hasn't changed. They're making money. As for Prime Video, it is the more popular of the two big streaming services, Prime Video and Netflix, at least according to some estimates, even if its shows haven't quite hit the cultural zeitgeist as its competitors like Stranger Things or Bridgerton. Now, at the end of the month, when Amazon begins to roll out advertising on Prime Video, I have some serious doubts about their strategy behind this. When Netflix and Disney Plus rolled out their ad-supported plan, they did it in the form of a new, cheaper plan. But what Amazon is doing is putting advertising on the plan for its current customers. And if you're subscribed to an annual plan, even though you're billed annually for Amazon Prime, you'll be billed monthly to remove the ads if you want to pay the extra money to do that, which to me is just confusing and odd. Why not be able to bill it together? Ultimately though, Amazon is a company that's much bigger than its streaming service. Even if they go through some temporary challenges with people canceling their Prime Video subscription, I think they'll weather it in the long run. And when it comes to Disney, this is going to be a very big year for Disney Plus and Hulu, as they will launch the full version of the one app experience that lets you watch Hulu shows on Disney Plus beginning in March. I don't think Disney Plus or Hulu on its own is enough to take on Netflix, but combined together, that 1-2 punch of general entertainment with the family-friendly brands owned by Disney, I think is a really robust rival for Netflix. And it will bring Disney Plus more in line with the way their app has been presented to customers outside of the United States. Disney may have had some struggles at the box office in 2023, but I think they are too much of a cultural force to brush aside. So let's talk about the streaming services that I don't think are going to make it to either the end of 2024 or 2025. These are going to be Paramount Plus, Peacock, STARZ, and AMC Plus. It's already a known fact that Paramount has put up its for sale sign, and somewhere in this process, I think it's most likely that Paramount Plus will either shut down or merge together with a different streaming service. Peacock, on the other hand, has struggled to compete against the bigger streaming services, but its parent company, Comcast, has enough cash that it could acquire someone else's company. To me, the company that seems most likely would be Warner Bros. Discovery, with Comcast choosing to just absorb Peacock into the Max brand. Now, I don't think either Peacock or Max are particularly good names for your brands, but Max is still slightly better than Peacock. And on the subject of Max, whether it merges with Comcast or not, I don't think CEO David Zaslav is done with mergers at Warner Bros. Discovery. I think Max will continue to exist, but what Max looks like in 2025, I think will look a lot different than what it looks like in 2024. With STARZ and AMC Plus, on the other hand, maybe their parent companies, Lionsgate or AMC Networks, will get acquired. Maybe they'll just decide to shut the services down and instead produce shows for other companies' services, but I don't think either is going to last in the long run. Now, the one dark horse in this whole thing is Apple TV+. Their audience is still just a fraction of everybody else, But Apple is a company that is way larger than their streaming service. What Apple does in the future is anyone's guess, but they could pretty much do whatever they wanted. And finally, when it comes to live TV streaming services, I think YouTube TV will continue to dominate this space. Now that Disney has acquired the remaining stake from Hulu that used to be owned by Comcast, I think there's a chance that Disney will decide to get out of the live TV streaming space, meaning Hulu will stay, but Hulu plus live TV will not. Now, if and when Fubo is able to add TNT, TBS, and truTV, which they're missing, I do think they could really start to gain some ground on YouTube TV, especially among sports fans. But we'll see. So these are my predictions for streaming in 2024. I'm fascinated by this whole thing as much as I am horrified that a few media companies could inch towards monopolizing an industry. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel to stay up to date with all things streaming. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.